your team had a puncher's chance once it got to the playoffs. Obviously, with the way that they are headed now under Coach Budenholzer.
In preview, happy National Noodle Day. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, as Tass Mellis.
I'm a noodle lover.
To his right, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily, do you have a favorite noodle?
All of them.
Yeah, okay, good answer. Now, last, certainly not least, down yonder, it is the bearded one, it's Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! All right, we are continuing to tackle the 82 burning questions about the upcoming NBA season. If you missed parts 1, 2, or 3, go back to YouTube. Jump on YouTube. Find them. Catch up here. We got tons of questions still to go. We're going to continue here at question 28. We ask you to play along. Jump on Twitter. Hashtag the starters with your answers. Guys, this is a good one. Question 28. Which team is under the most pressure heading into this season?
I think it's the Pelicans because I think the team, roster, front office might look a whole lot different if they don't succeed this coming season. That being said, have you seen DeMarcus Cousins? That man is skinny. That man is on a mission entering his contract year, and when that man's
noodle day.
Yeah, he is skipping all the noodles, or he's going tofu. He's going glass noodles, perhaps. I think they're lower in cals. I don't know. Either way, he did get serious about his diet. He seriously did because he looks entirely different, and it kind of helps that he's entering a contract year. If that guy's focused and Anthony Davis is focused, I know it's the West, and I know there's only 8 spots. But it seems like they can't miss.
They only went 7-10 last year after Cousins got traded to the Pelicans.
Yeah, the
I know
schedule
it's a weird
was
situation.
hard after the All-Star break. There was a lot of factors there, but a camp. These guys worked out together earlier than camp as well. I think they're really ready to play.
Alvin Gentry is under pressure for sure.
Yes.
Because if things start off slowly, the coach is the first one to go. And, you know, there's been a little bit of friction between him and the front office anyway. So they get off to a slow start, maybe 5-10. I think Gentry's gone and they try to get someone else in. Because
do you think it can work, though? Do you believe, I mean, in this type of game where we're headed with the NBA, this pace and space, having 2 big guys in Cousins and Davis? And of course, keeping Drew, can it work?
I think the Pelicans had to make that deal when they got the chance to get Cousins last year. But they also made some unusual off-season signings as well. Rondo and Tony Allen, 2 other guys who can't shoot and don't really spread the floor
There's
for
no
you.
pace and space. Well, there's some pace, not much space.
I mean, both of these guys, Davis and Cousins, can put the ball on the floor. So it's not like they need the ball down the post all the time.
And they can shoot it.
Yeah, they can shoot. If it works, it's going to be very, very hard to defend. I'm just not quite sure if it is the right formula right now. Maybe. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think that the Pelicans are a great choice. For me, the team that is under the most pressure is the Thunder because they basically have 1 year to get everything right. Acquiring Paul George, acquiring Melo. If things don't go well for the Thunder, it's hard to imagine both of those guys staying next year. And if that's the case, then they're worse off than they were after last season when it was Russell Westbrook, a bunch of guys. At least then you had young Victor Oladipo, you had a recent draft pick in Sabonis. Those guys are now gone. So if things go poorly this year, not that they're going to go poorly, but if they're not necessarily a contender that actually has a chance at taking down the Warriors, I think it's kind of hard for either PG and Melo to want to stick around in Oklahoma City rather than try and build something else somewhere. So they got 1 season to really figure things out.
Do you think Paul George will stick around after this year? Like if they
I mean, I think he's going to L.A. He said he's going to L.A., but he's also saying, I'm loving it here in OKC. It's such a brotherhood. We're buddies now. I mean, it's preseason. Everybody's friends then, but who knows? I think he'll be in L.A., but if things go awesome in OKC, why wouldn't he stick around?
I think his agent and his people said to him, just ease up on the LA stuff.
Maybe.
Because he was pretty blatant about it, saying, I'm going to LA, so don't re-sign me here in Indiana, don't even try. The only way he stays in Oklahoma City is if they win the championship. That's it for me.
That's it.
Yeah, because otherwise he's like, no,
I'm like a hard-fought 6-gamer against the Warriors, you know? If they make it seem like the Warriors are on the ropes, it's hard to not want to run it back with a guy like Westbrook, who you know is going to be there, just signed a huge extension. Melo will have another year that he could opt into, and they could just hang out together in OKC and try their best, hope somebody gets hurt.
It's possible, but I feel that they have to get at least to the finals for Paul George, because he wants that championship, and if he feels he's really close to it, then maybe he sticks around, but I still think he's 80% chance he's gone.
These are good picks. Any other teams that come to mind? Pressure? I mean, what about the Celtics? They completely revamped a team that was the #1 seed in the East. And yeah, they got bounced by LeBron pretty easily in the playoffs, but they got 4/5 of a different starting lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, it just completely changed it after a lot of people had been saying for, quite some time, hey, Danny, you got to do something with all these picks and all these young talent that you have there. You got to make a move. Well, he finally did. Obviously signed Gordon Hayward. Then they do the Cavs trade, swapping the point guards.
I think
that's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
I think there's only individual pressure really on Kyrie Irving in this scenario because Danny Ainge is playing the long game a little bit, with his young guys. He doesn't necessarily want to get good right now. He kind of wants to wait for LeBron to get to 35 and the Warriors to kind of drop off a little bit. You know, he did get Kyrie to go along with Gordon Hayward and Al Horford. He said he wants to get good as soon as possible, but I feel like it's more of an individual pressure on Kyrie Irving because he said, I don't want to play with the league's best player. I want to, you know, do my own thing and put that pressure on himself, self-imposed pressure, which is, you know, a heck of an undertaking for him. It's going to be really intriguing to see because if he wants to do it and he thinks he can do it, it feels like he's going to be ready to do it. So the Celtics could grab that #1 seed.
But I wonder if there'll be any tension between Hayward and Irving because Hayward, they lavished so much favoritism on him to get him, to lure him to Boston.
I don't think so.
And then they go out and trade for Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving wanted to leave LeBron because he wanted to be the man on his team.
If Hayward wanted to be the #1 guy, he would have stayed in Utah.
Yeah, can't argue that. You can't argue. What about, and we brought them up on Thursday's show, what about the Timberwolves? There's got to be some pressure on a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 13 consecutive seasons when you go and get Butler for not a whole lot, and you've got two young potential stars in Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. You got a second year under Tibbs. You have to make the playoffs here now. There can be no more excuses. Even if an injury were to fall on one of those guys, and hopefully it doesn't. You've got to compete in this very loaded Western Conference, but you've got to finally make the playoffs, don't you?
Yeah, I totally agree. And they're not really a young team anymore. Wiggins and Towns definitely young, but they're still getting further along in their career that they're getting to be veterans because they played a ton of minutes growing up in their first couple of seasons. It's a tough road. They got 31 wins last year. The West is better. It's going to be tough to get another 10, maybe 12 more wins with a team that's going to be kind of awkward for fit-wise at the beginning.
We will see. All right, next question here. Let's keep it moving. Another award question. Who wins my favorite award? Most Improved Player. Let's hear some nominees for Most Improved.
I'm picking a guy you love to win this award to, a guy in his second year.
Don't do that.
Brandon Ingram.
Of course a rookie is going to get better.
Well, like most rookies, though, he did struggle last year, and the Lakers also struggled. But here's why I'm encouraged. Remember Summer League? He only played one game, but he was actually one of those guys at Summer League you're like, he should be playing here. He's too good already.
Most Improved Summer League player.
I love the way he can put the ball on the ground, for one, and he can dribble. He's got great court vision. He knows how to pass. He grew in with so much confidence, too, last year in his ability. There were comparisons, remember, to Kevin Durant. I'm not saying he's Kevin Durant, but I'm saying you can see why there were comparisons because he's got range on his shot. He can get to the hoop. He's got those long arms. He's a thin guy. But I just think the Lakers are going to improve. He's got so much more confidence in him, and I think he's going to be in for a big year. His numbers don't even need to improve that much for him to really stand out considering where he was last year.
Well, that's why he might win it because his numbers were not very good last year. Like, for all the other candidates, they had some decent numbers. Brandon Ingram, 9 points per game. 40% from the floor, shot the Charles Barkley percent from three-point land with 29%. I mean, up and down the board here, 62% from the line. So, you know, if he pots 15,
he's going
those
to
numbers
get better.
are huge.
He's a second-year player.
But
This is why like giving it to a second-year player, it just infuriates me. It's so pointless.
But remember the Lakers refused to give him up in any trades. DeMarcus Cousins was rumoured and Paul George. It's because the Lakers know that he's going to be a star, and they're like, there's no way we're giving up this guy. He's only just turned 20.
Okay, we got Ingram. Is there anyone else? Anyone maybe a little bit longer in their NBA career?
I don't know if he's going to actually win it, but I'm really excited for Gary Harris. Shout out to Gary Harris's ham pillow. He's really a slept-on player. He's maybe a hair behind Devin Booker as the next shooting guard to watch. He had a really good year last year, 15 points, 3 boards, 3 assists. 50% from the field for a guard, which is crazy. 42 on threes, made 2 a game. He's got a nice connection with Nikola Jokic. He's great on the back cuts, and he seems to be the furthest along of all the Denver guards. They've had a lot of guards, and it seems he'll just have a little bit more responsibility this year. He can get super hot, 25 points in 21 minutes in a preseason game. Wouldn't be surprising to me if he could get close to 20 a game.
That's a solid pick. You got anyone for MIP?
I think the good thing about Gary Harris is that people will be paying a little bit more attention to Denver this year because Jokic is a star and they get Paul Millsap, so maybe Gary Harris gets some light as well. Rodney Hood is another shooting guard who could get some light. There was a man by the name of John Schumann on NBA.com who once told me that he was better than Devin Booker, Rodney Hood was. So, Rodney Hood,
hey,
this is your time,
someone has to score on the Utah Jazz.
For sure.
Someone has to, and if you can score 20 per game after having a very down year, which Hood did, he was injured last year. You know, they look at that. When you look at the previous winners for Most Improved Player, you usually got to score around 20 or just over 20. So if Hood can do that, and turn 25 later this month, I think he has a possibility. But you see our picks there. A couple for Ingram, Gary Harris, and I'll take Rodney Hood. We got to take a break. Lots more still to come on the show tonight. When we come back, oh boy, is LeBron still the best basketball player? I think he is on the planet. That and more of the update report.
The open part of the open court is about really just being candid.
Who was the best point guard of the 1980s, Isaiah?
Come on, Zeke, say it!
That's what open court's all about. Guys who have played the game at its highest level, just kind of sitting around and letting it rip.
These guys have some of the best stories.
And you'll never know where it's going to go.
No offense, Brent. He was the first white guy.
Why would I take offense to that?
I hate it when you do that when you're looking at me.
It's bananas. That's what makes it fun.
Catch episode highlights at NBA.com/opencourt.
I love the WNBA.
This is gorgeous.
They're huge talents.
I learned a little bit from them as well.
It's good. Puts it home.
They make the game extremely exciting to watch.
Why do I watch them work?
You have got to be kidding me.
2 words: sick handles, mad skills.
Spectacular.
Candace Parker, Della Don,
Sue Bird and Diane Rossi.
Maya Moore.
You have a fan of me because you are the best at what you do.
Here, in this league, we're not okay with strong. We go stronger. We don't settle for fast. We go faster. We don't want next. We want next level. Here, we go all out. Because we're all in. This is our league. And here, we don't go for good. We go for great.
Davis on top of Zeller. Look out below. What can he do? Franchise, Anthony Davis.
How you doing?
What a performance by this young man. Yo! Anthony Davis! Difference maker, franchise changer.
Down low for Dominique. Baseline drive. Dominique. Oh, my goodness! Did you see that jam? I don't know how he did that. Dominique. That was one of the most fantastic dunks of all time.
Here comes James Harden. Side steps and puts it in. Harden. Oh, big finish. The beard is balling right now.
Down to 4. 3. Down to 2. Harden puts it in.
Goodness.
Back with the up-down report. 82 burning questions. Play along on Twitter. Hashtag the starters thumbs up or thumbs down. Question 30 overall. Guys, is LeBron still the best basketball player in the NBA?
Yeah.
Everybody says yes.
Yeah,
Everybody says yes. You all took Kevin Durant, though, for MVP. But you
That
still...
doesn't matter.
I'm saying, I'm just clarifying here, but still LeBron, in your eyes, the best in the league.
Yeah, I don't know how you take this away from him. He was working out 3 days after the NBA Finals. He still feels good in that 32-year-old body. He was a bald head not working out. He's still the guy. I don't get any sort of idea of taking it away from him.
I think it's pretty close, though, when you throw in guys like Kawhi and Kevin Durant, because they're all incredible players. But what separates LeBron for me is his versatility, that he can basically play point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power, wherever he wants to play, and on the defensive end as well. And if you were to pick one player to start your franchise with, like taking out all those factors of age and where he's in his career, I think you would still pick LeBron out of anyone else in the league.
Oh, yeah. You're still picking him first in a pickup game. The 2016 Finals wasn't very long ago when he had maybe the best 3 Finals games ever right in a row. He averaged a triple-double in the Finals last year, which I had completely forgot about until I went back like, oh, yeah, LeBron, he's still really good. The difference is that the gap now between him and Kevin Durant is very thin. It's Brandon Ingram thin. But there's just more margin of error for Durant and the Warriors, you know, so Durant doesn't quite have to do as much, which is kind of what LeBron does during the regular season. It's just the Cavs struggle for it because he's not doing as much.
All right, next question. This one, coming from Jeff Paddles on Twitter. Are the Raptors being underestimated heading into this season? So that's a no from Lee.
I think so, a little bit.
How so?
Well, they have a full camp with their guys. I know people are bored of them because they've got the same team coming back year after year, but those guys only played for 2 months. You know, Serge Ibaka wasn't part of the rotation. He's the guy who finishes at the 5 spot for their team. I just think we overlooked them.
We haven't talked about them at all.
Are they better than they were last season?
I think they are.
It could be.
I think they are because they have a full season with Serge Ibaka. Yeah, they're a little bit thinner.
Are they worse? Are they better? No, they're going to win 50-odd games. They're going to be in the hunt for the top 4 in the East.
I think they're going to be in the hunt for the #1 seed this year. Of the teams that are in the top 4, aside from the Wizards, they have the most continuity. There's a lot of familiarity. You're adding Serge Ibaka for a whole year. They're going to be a team that's not struggling to figure things out, unlike the Cavs and
The Celtics.
The Celtics, yeah.
They could actually finish number 1 in the East, but it doesn't really mean anything because 53 wins.
That wouldn't mean anything?
No, it wouldn't mean anything.
The best team in Raptors history.
Well, what's a successful season for the Raptors?
Well, they have to go to the conference finals.
Conference finals or bust.
I mean, it's not bust, but that's where they have to go back to because that's where they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And again, like we always talk about in the East, LeBron finished third. He's still the favourite. His team's still the favourite. So even if the Cavs or the Raptors do win 53, 54 games, it's a minor improvement over the regular season. But they're not really, I don't believe, a better or worse team than they were at this stage basically of the playoffs last year, but they're a good team, and there's nothing wrong with them.
They have to buy into Dwayne Casey's new offensive system that he's continuously talking about, moving the basketball. He talked about it when he was here after they lost in the second round in May. He talked about this team just needs to find a way to move the basketball. Lowry and DeRozan, who's become a bit more of a passer, they
do
have
we
to
really
move the
think
ball
that's
around.
going to happen? I mean, with Lowry and DeRozan.
I mean, history says no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But 24, 25 other franchises would want to trade
would,
spots with the Raptors.
I'm not saying they're a bad team.
No, I get it.
I'm just saying I just don't really think that they've all of a sudden taken another step up. Outside an injury to LeBron, they're not better than
Don't yell at me, man. It's Jeff Paddle's question. Okay?
Great question, Jeff.
Give me the paddles.
Here's a good one. Question 32 overall from 82. Is Nikola Jokic a franchise player? Nuggets big man.
Absolutely.
Wow, that was a little quicker than I thought with the thumbs up.
No, yeah, for me, he's the offensive fulcrum on an offense that's really good, so therefore he's a franchise player. The Nuggets are starting to build around him. They brought in a guy like Paul Millsap, who is the perfect front court partner for him on both ends, really. You just got to see some growth on the defensive end this year. He's skinnier now. I'm sure Tass is loving that. So maybe he's skipping noodle days too. I don't know.
Yeah, he reminds me of a young Marc Gasol. When Marc Gasol came into the league, he wasn't a great defender. No one saw him becoming Defensive Player of the Year. He had the offensive touch. That's what Nikola Jokic needs to do, work on the defense. His offense is fantastic. Great vision, range.
He shot 58% on post-ups. Like, he can go down there and score. He's 17, 10, and 5 assists, almost a block, almost a steal. As you said, he's not getting any fatter. You know, he came into the league. He came into the league with Pepsi problems. He was drinking 3 Pepsis a day.
That'll do it.
And he's definitely going to get slimmer. He's been in North America for 2 years. He's only going to get better at 22 years of age. I think you can call him a franchise. Again, 58%, a ridiculous 58% from the field when he shot 2 threes a game. Those numbers are fantastic.
People pick on him for his defense, but the Nuggets were an awful defensive team.
So one of the worst.
Yeah, exactly. So when you are...
He's got to get better.
When you are basically the lone guy protecting the rim and everyone's just walking into the paint, it's hard to be a good defender.
All right. You guys have convinced me. All right. Final one here for the up-down report. Will the Warriors win 70-plus games? 70 or plus.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they will.
What? Hold on.
They're better than they were last year.
Wow, you think they're going to win 70?
They won 67, they won 73, and they won 67.
Yeah, and the year they lost the finals, they won 73.
Who cares? Who cares?
The question is, will they went after it.
But they, like, the schedule now, remember as well, for these nationally televised games, they get more rest.
A little more depth.
Yeah, a little more depth.
They added Nick Young. They added Caspi. They got a lot more players, so you're going to be able to rest your big names while you bring even better guys off the bench. That's why I think they can accidentally win 70. They probably really don't want to, but they're just that good.
But they don't want to, and that's exactly why I don't think they will. They just don't want to be gassed going into April. Draymond Green said on being the clear NBA favorites, he said, I don't expect us to be where we were at the end of last year focus-wise as far as locked in. But we need to get as close to that as we possibly can. They almost don't want to work that hard because they know they can get to the playoffs.
But
why can't they be exactly? Why can't they be like LeBron James and kind of coast a little bit? You're right. I mean, they're that good that they could win close to that number. And with another year with Kevin Durant, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be far, but 70s.
I can't believe we follow a league where Trey just said they might accidentally fall into 70 wins. And you're right.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Young will have a 40-point game off the bench on accident. Omri Caspi will make 10 threes in a game on accident. Good things just happen to the Warriors.
All right. Wow. Okay, let's hear from you guys out there. Again, jump on Twitter. Will the Warriors win 70-plus games? We got to take a break, but when we come back, it's Crossfire time. It is Skeets versus Trey.
Oh, the rematch for the dunk contest.
I beat him in the dunk contest. Can I beat him in Crossfire? We'll find out
tonight.
Leaning Together is about what men can do as dads and partners to help support the women in our lives. My wife is my #1 teammate, and we try to go 50-50 in on everything that we do. Oh, hi. I'm proud to lean in for my amazing kids, and I'm their #1 fan.
I always let my sister know she can be anything she wanted to be.
Now we're talking.
And I'm proud to do my part to support gender equality.
Now it's your turn. Use the hashtag #LeanInTogether to share your story with us.
There's a reason this season can't come soon enough. why NBA history is always being rewritten, and why this game is about more than just basketball. There's a reason this fall is going to be hotter than the summer. Why 2 seconds can feel like an eternity. And why any city can become the center of the universe.
Giannis Antetokounmpo,
the man known as the Greek Freak. Here comes
yes!
The Greek Freak is in the building.
Oh no, he didn't.
The open part of the open court is about really just being candid.
Who was the best point guard of the 1980s, Isaiah?
Come on, Zeke, say it.
That's what open court's all about. Guys who have played the game at its highest level, just kind of sitting around and letting it rip.
These guys have some of the best stories.
And you'll never know where it's going to go. No offense, Brent. He was the first white guy.
Why would I take offense to that?
I hate it when you do that when you're looking at me.
It's bananas.
That's what makes it fun.
Catch episode highlights at NBA.com/opencourt.
It's important for me to give back to the community because I'm helping change somebody's life.
I always feel like when you focus on more people outside of yourself, life just feels a little bigger.
The best way to give back is by your actions.
Now that I'm a professional athlete and I know the impact that I can have on youth, the things that I can do to help out a community, I feel like it's really important.
Crossfire. I will give the guys 3 questions. They will debate each one. At the end of it all, I will declare a winner. And remember, winner stays on during previews. All right, let's get her started. Like LL Cool J didn't say, do call it a comeback. Question number 34 is, which player will have the best comeback story this year? Here we go.
Best comeback story this year is Carmelo Anthony coming back from being the most overhated player in the game, because guess what? Melo's still good at basketball. He scored 22 a game last year. Going to be even better playing for OKC alongside a couple of stars. And don't forget, Melo is low-key a pretty funny guy. Hoodie Melo was a stroke of genius over the summer. He's always going to wear silly hats. And I think the comedy pairing of him and Steven Adams, what an odd couple. Looking forward to Melo and OKC. People will remember how much fun he is.
The best comeback story is the 2008 NBA draft. The top 2 picks, Derrick Rose and Michael Beasley, comeback years for both these guys. D-Rose, when he wasn't just disappearing from the Knicks, actually played pretty well at scoring the ball, shooting the ball at a decent clip for the Knicks. He's now with LeBron. LeBron makes everyone better. Beasley, he's wearing 3 wristwatches and is using 11% of his brain. He's on another level, man. So Rose and Beasley, 08 draft.
Great start, gents. Here we go. We've talked about the best players on the court, but let's take it off the court. Who is your pick for social media MVP? Here we go.
Don't overthink this. It's Joel Embiid. His Twitter game is gold. When he's not roasting trolls, he's either making fun of himself, making fun of teammates. He never stops telling us to trust the process. He's joked about a playoff spot opening up in the East when the Paul George trade happened. He makes fun of LeVar Ball constantly. His Twitter game is an A+. It's him. He's the social media MVP.
Joel Embiid, great pick, but I'm going with co-MVPs. LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, they're back together, and like any old friends who finally get back together, they can't stop making jokes. They've been teammates for a week. They're already drinking wine after practice, interrupting each other's interviews, and just generally being silly. The season hasn't even really started yet. They're going to be putting up highlights. They're big into social activism. I'm looking forward to LeBron and D-Wade back together again, making us laugh.
I don't know who I'm going to pick. You guys are doing such a great job out here. It's going to come down to this last question. Question number 36. Nike has released statement jerseys for each squad, which will primarily serve as the team's alternate. Now, which one talks to you the most? What is the best statement jersey? Here we go.
The Thunder's OKC Navy jerseys are so good, they should be their full-time jerseys. It makes Thunder's color combination look so much better. The Navy is on full display, and they're showcasing that orange. You know I love orange. The colors just look better. The design looks better.
It looks because their jerseys were garbage before. I mean, these are better.
That helps.
But they're not the best, I don't think. I love the Warriors, the Town jerseys. These are, you don't see jerseys with trees on them. But we got an oak tree there.
You make a good point.
We got an oak tree there. You know, same oak tree that you see on Oakland street signs, of course, the Oakland City flag. I just love it. It echoes the city design that we've seen before. I love how that yellow pops on the collar there against the black.
Yellow's no orange. It's a good color, but it's no orange.
Nice. Those are nice, man.
Fantastic competition. But the belt is going to J.E. Ski.
Yes!
Oh, I need more bees in my life.
Don't get too comfortable with it, man.
Preview 5, these two going at it.
You're only going to have it for one.
Oh my God. No.
We gotta take a break.
No more acting, please.
When we come back. We'll check the fan vote. See who the fans decide which team is under the most pressure heading into this season.
He's really hurt, Tess.
Titles for the Heat.
I'm back.
LeBron James. No, he didn't. Big time bucket by the King. Oh, blocked by James. Let's go.
I love the WNBA.
This is gorgeous.
They're huge talents. I learned a little bit from them as well.
It's good. Puts it home.
They make the game extremely exciting to watch. Why do I watch them work?
You have got to be kidding me.
2 words: sick handles, mad skills.
Spectacular.
Candace Parker, Della Don,
Sue Bird, and Diane Taurasi.
Maya Moore. You have a fan in me because you are the best at what you do.
Here comes James Harden. Side steps and puts it in. Harden. Big finish. The Beard is balling right now.
Down to 4. 3. Down to 2. Harden puts it in.
Oh, my goodness.
On top of Zeller. Look out below. What can't he do? Franchise, Anthony Davis.
How you doing?
Yes! What a performance by this young man. Anthony Davis. Difference maker, franchise changer.
Hi, this is Jason Tatum. You're watching NBA TV.
On NBA TV, it's Lee's favorite 2 teams. The very solid play teams. Celtics versus the 76ers coming up very shortly here on the network. 7 p.m. Eastern. Game time later this evening. Let's check the Twitter poll results for the question, which was, which team is under the most pressure this season? 38% say the Oklahoma City Thunder, with their new big pieces there in Paul George and Melo, and trying to make it all work before everyone maybe just leaves for LA, maybe possibly other teams. Celtics 30%, Pelicans 18%, and Wolves 14%. You said when we were talking about the Pelicans there earlier, Alvin Gentry on the hot seat. Is there any other coach that comes to mind that is on the super hot seat as we go into this season? Gentry's a great pick. Anyone else come to mind?
Is Hoiberg on the hot seat, or are the Bulls just expectations?
The Bulls are building around Fred Hoiberg. Haven't you heard? It's Hoiberg this season. He's safe.
Well, maybe Frank Vogel?
What about Dwayne Casey as well, perhaps? If the Raptors struggle out of the gate? Nah.
You just said they were perfectly.
No, I'm just saying though. But, you know, like it's the hot seat just becomes hotter from week to week in the NBA.
No, the hot seat was last year on the
season
previews. All right, we're going to continue with the 82 burning questions on Monday, part 5 of our NBA season preview series. We'll debate the league's biggest rivalry. Shout out to Zach Lowe. We're going to select our must-watch League Pass teams, and in Crossfire, we're going to place bets on the 2 teammates least likely to get along. You and I, Lily. You and I. So that's on Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, the Intercontinental Belt is on the line. Monday, Preview 5. See you later.
Thanks tonight, people.
with Jaylen Brown, the potential to get Gordon Hayward, you know, they would be able to match that there. But as good as Isaiah Thomas is, and we all think he's a terrific player and had a brilliant season, I think you could make the strong argument that Kyrie Irving's a better talent. And if you look at Boston's team from a season ago, as good as they were, right, they didn't have one guy that you would say, okay, he's definitely a top 5 player in the league at that position, or top 3. They didn't have a guy that you could say was truly an all-star, or I should say a superstar. And I think Kyrie gives them that. And I think also, he also allows a guy like Gordon Hayward, Coach, and Al Horford to have a position of comfort with their roles. Because neither guy really, even though Gordon averaged over 20 points a game, I don't look at him as the primary first option guy that when all else fails, he's a guy that can will your team with his offensive ability. Kyrie has that kind of dynamic talent, and I think that's one reason why there's so much optimism now in Boston for this Celtics team.
Kyrie's trade request, though, was made public in July. He expressed the desire to be the primary offensive facilitator. What have you seen in preseason thus far, and how is he going to be able to do that within the Celtics system, Coach?
The big thing for him is, can he fit within the system? Cleveland's system was completely the opposite end of the spectrum from where Boston is at. Pretty much everything was scripted for Boston, and that's why a guy like Isaiah Thomas was able to be so successful, because it was mapped out for him. They eliminated certain things. We don't want you to do these things. Don't try and do these things. We want you to do these couple of things and do them well, and he did that. For Kyrie Irving, it came down to isolations for him. And he's such a talented player. Watch him turn down the screen coming, goes one-on-one, sees the open area, and he has an uncanny ability to finish with the opposite hand off the glass high before the next defender gets there. He is that talented. This play was a play they used to run for Isaiah Thomas, and this time, instead, it's Kyrie coming off. You can't go underneath that screen because Kyrie is too good a shooter from behind the three-point line. He's going to make you pay. And then one way of stopping him is don't let him touch the basketball. Deny the basketball. Well, this is what happens when you deny the basketball. He simply cuts hard to the basket, gets a return pass. He moves without the ball. He finishes at the rim. He shoots well from behind the three-point line. You got an upper-level point guard.
And the other thing you got to factor in here, as great as Isaiah was, a lot of this is based on what happened in the postseason, because that's when you really find out how good your players are, right? In the postseason, you can limit what role players can do. That's what Golden State did to Cleveland in the finals last year. They took away the supporting cast. The truly great ones you can't. And at times, even though Isaiah got hurt in that conference finals, he had his struggles. He dealt with a lot last year of adversity. But I think there's a difference in terms of the overall talent and impact that you can get with Kyrie. He is truly one of the special offensive talents we have in our game.
Let's go back to those playoffs last year real quick. Remember, Boston just got by the first two opponents before they met Cleveland, got destroyed. Ainge knew they had to do a deal.
Gordon Hayward is also reuniting with his former Butler Bulldogs coach and Coach Stevens, writing a letter about his unfinished business, his desire to win a championship. What do we expect now from Gordon this season with the Celtics?
I tell you, and I mentioned this earlier, I think the fact that Kyrie comes in takes a little pressure off of him. You know, having signed that monstrous contract, now he's not going to be looked at to be the main guy offensively. And I think he's going to flourish because of that. I mean, he is a multidimensional player. He can pass it. He shoots it with range. He can create offensively. I think he's a better defender than maybe given credit for. And I think when you look at the team system that Brad Stevens puts together in terms of how they do it defensively, I think that will benefit him as they try to make this thing work and go for that push.
Best thing that happened to Hayward, you said it. Kyrie Irving joined the team, and he immediately said, okay, I understand now that I can be the guy behind Kyrie. There's all the attention, and Kyrie brought a lot of that on himself by demanding the trade and now stepping into a spot that they loved the guy that they lost, Isaiah Thomas. This guy they're expecting to do more than Thomas did, and that was a whole lot.
And also remember, from Gordon Hayward's perspective, the thing about Kyrie, he wanted this. You know, like, not everybody wants to be great. Not everybody wants to be that guy because there's a lot of responsibility and pressure. And that's the reason why, in his mind, he wanted to get out of the shadow of LeBron James. What better situation could he have found himself in now to not only get out of his shadow, but then to go potentially to the team of the future. and the future may be right now, Coach, for the Boston Celtics if it all comes together for them in that Eastern Conference.
Let me ask you, Coach, because Brad Stevens signed on for a rebuild in Boston, and now this is a team that's
rebuilt
competing for a championship. It is rebuilt. Is he going to be able, you think, to combine these stars into a team that could make an NBA Finals appearance?
Kristen, let's look back at where this guy came from, Brad Stevens. He started out with 25 wins, went to 40 wins, went to 48 wins, and now comes off of winning 53 games and going to the conference finals. This team has an incredible future coming up in front of them. When you look at the draft picks that they have, they traded a 28-year-old guy who averaged 29 points per game and got a 25-year-old. That 28-year-old's contract is up at the end of this year, and he's not even playing right now. The 25-year-old has 2 years left on his contract. All these draft picks, all this young talent, I think he probably wants to be there for a long time.
Well, when we come back, we'll examine the even younger Celtics, the expectations for Jason Tatum, the development of Jaylen Brown. Don't go away.
The open part of the open court is about really just being candid.
Who was the best point guard of the 1980s, Isaiah?
Come on, Zeke.
That's what open court's all about. Guys who have played the game at its highest level, just kind of sitting around and letting it rip.
These guys have some of the best stories.
And you'll never know where it's going to go.
No offense, Brent. He was the first white guy.
Why would I take offense to that?
I hate it when you do that when you're looking at me. It's bananas. That's what makes it fun.
Catch episode highlights at NBA.com/opencourt.
Here, in this league, we're not okay with strong. We go stronger. We don't settle for fast. We go faster. We don't want next. We want next level. Here, we go all out. Because we're all in. This is our league. And here, we don't go for good. We go for great.
Leaning together is about what men can do
as dads and partners to help support the women in our lives.
My wife is my #1 teammate, and we try to go 50-50 in on everything that we do.
Oh, hi. I'm proud to lean in for my amazing kids, and I'm their #1 fan. I always let my sister know she can be anything she wanted to be.
Now we're talking.
And I'm proud to do my part to support gender equality. Now it's your turn. Use the hashtag #LeanInTogether to share your story with us.
I love the WNBA.
This is gorgeous.
They're huge talents.
I learned a little bit from them as well.
Puts it home.
They make the game extremely exciting to watch.
Why do I watch them work?
You have got to be kidding me.
2 words: sick handles, mad skills.
Spectacular.
Candace Parker, Della Don,
Sue Bird, and Diane Taurasi.
Maya Moore.
You have a fan in me because you are the best at what you do.
Celtics select Jason Tatum. Let's come out and play Celtic basketball. Tatum goes all the way in. What a move. Oh, the athleticism. Jaylen Brown all in one motion. Big shot on a big stage. He's just better than everybody else. Jaylen Brown with a beautiful hit. 17-footer. Bang.
The Boston Celtics are now the 3rd youngest team in the NBA. Marcus Smart is the longest tenured Celtic at just 23 years old, and there's high expectations for the rookie Jason Tatum, who's just 19. Here's a closer look at Tatum, starting with draft night.
With the 3rd pick, the Boston Celtics select Jason Tatum.
Excited to be joining the Boston Celtics. I'm most excited about entering the NBA, just playing my first game, just having my dream come true.
Nice round of applause for the rookie the first time, Jason Tatum. Tatum launching. And maybe they need to start moving. Baseline by Tatum.
You earn respect by just showing that you have what it takes to be in this league.
And that's an oh my moment as Jason Tatum rocks the rim.
And just focus on basketball and what got you here, and not worry about outside distractions, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Tatum pulls the trigger, about a 17-footer, bang!
The coaching staff and my teammate, they gave me the confidence, put the ball in my hand, told me to go.
This guy here is going to be potentially an all-star player.
So he's only 19 years old, but what does this franchise expect from its rookie this season?
Well, I think they want him to be in that rotation, and I think that's a huge boon when you think about a team that is trying to win a championship. To have a guy at 19 to be a productive member of that rotation. We saw it with Jaylen Brown a year ago. I think he's a little further ahead offensively. He's shown he's got the range out to three-point. He can put it on the floor. He's got the athleticism and the competitive nature, and I think because of the veterans that they have there, it's going to ease his transition. When he plays well, they're going to applaud him. You will hear about it, but when it doesn't go well for him, it's not a big deal because he's not going to be the focal point, Coach. So I think it's a really good situation for him to develop into the kind of player they ultimately expect.
He's tougher than you think. He has a quiet confidence about him. He's long. He has a huge wingspan. They think he's going to grow into 6'9" to 6'10", and he has picked up their defensive schemes already at an incredible pace. They are so impressed with him. They think before the season's over, as you mentioned, Greg, he could be in the starting lineup.
Meanwhile, Jaylen Brown is only 20, and I spoke to him at Summer League in July, and we laughed at the contrast between playing with the rookies and free agents as opposed to guarding LeBron James in the Eastern Conference Finals. What can you say, though, of his development at this point?
Well, you talk about a bulldog. I mean, he accepted the challenge last year in the postseason, gave them quality minutes the second half of the season as well. Much improved, I think, offensively. Tremendously high IQ from a defensive standpoint as well, Coach. I mean, I was really impressed with what he brings to the table. And when you look at the dynamic of he and Tatum, the versatility that they could have ultimately with that lineup, those two guys can both play multiple positions. They're hopefully going to be able to guard multiple positions. And with a guy like Kyrie and the passing of Horford, I think the game's going to be a lot easier for both of them this upcoming season.
As Brad Stevens is going through these exhibition games, I'm sure in his mind he's saying, let me see if this guy can do this, and let me see if he can do that, because he's looking at both of them saying, my goodness, are they talented? Are they athletic? They have big IQs. They really understand what we're trying to do here. They get it. Now, where can I use them? Can I use them in more than just one spot? Where are they best at? The future's so bright for these two youngsters.
How about Jaylen, though? Because he was given that huge defensive responsibility in the Eastern Conference Final. It's going to be a larger weight on him offensively again this season.
It is, but, that's why they're playing. They are embracing it. Like, they don't look at it as a weight. It's an opportunity. You're playing the game you love. You're playing meaningful basketball and with an opportunity to compete for championships. I mean, there's no better feeling. I had the good fortune as a rookie to play on a contending team. Like, that is the best. To be in the rotation, to play meaningful minutes where the little things that you do within a game matter, Coach. It's not like if you're on a bad team, you get 18-9, you get beat by 20. You might get 6-4, but come up with a key defensive stop, and that's what they're going to laud the next day when they watch film.
Let me just remind you this. There are three guys touching the basketball. Horford, Hayward, and Irving. The rest of you guys just hang out there, play defense, rebound, and run.
Well, speaking of the rest of the guys, coming up next, we'll take a look inside the paint to Al Horford and other additions. We'll examine this team's depth. Your Boston Celtics team preview continues after this.
Here comes James Harden. Side steps and puts it in. Harden. Big finish. The Beard is balling right now.
Down to 4. 3. Down to 2. Harden puts it down. Oh, my goodness.
There's a reason this season can't come soon enough. Why NBA history is always being rewritten. And why this game is about more than just basketball. There's a reason this fall is going to be hotter than the summer. Why 2 seconds can feel like an eternity. And why any city can become the center of the universe.
Giannis Antetokounmpo,
the man known as the Greek Freak.
Here comes Giannis.
The Greek Freak is in the building.
Oh no, he didn't.
The open part of the open court is about really just being candid.
Who was the best point guard of the 1980s, Isaiah?
Come on, Zeke.
That's what open court's all about. Guys who have played the game at its highest level, just kind of sitting around and letting it rip.
These guys have some of the best stories.
And you'll never know where it's going to go.
No offense, Brett. He was the first white guy.
Why would I take offense to that?
I hate it when you do that when you're looking at me.
It's bananas.
That's what makes it fun.
Catch episode highlights at NBA.com/opencourt.
Here, in this league, we're not okay with strong. We go stronger. We don't settle for fast. We go faster. We don't want next. We want next level. Here, we go all out. Because we're all in. This is our league. And here, we don't go for good. We go for great.
If Boston is your team, look no further than NBA.com for Celtics player stats, team news, video highlights, and schedules. The Celtics were a great fourth quarter team last season, in large part due to Isaiah Thomas. So how does that change with Kyrie Irving taking his place? NBA.com's John Schumann has the answers.
Last season's Boston Celtics led the league with 25 wins after trailing in the fourth quarter, more than any team in the last 9 seasons. The Celtics had the lowest point differential for a number 1 seed in the last 41 years, but were terrific in close games. Their offense was at its best in the fourth quarter, when Isaiah Thomas was the league's second leading scorer, scoring more efficiently than he did in any other period. Boston led the league in clutch offense, scoring 123 points per 100 possessions with the game within 5 points in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime. Among 40 players who took at least 50 shots in those situations, Thomas had the 5th best effective field goal percentage and the 3rd best true shooting percentage. Thomas, who attempted 91 more clutch shots than any teammate last season, is in Cleveland now. He's been replaced by Kyrie Irving, who has been one of the league's most clutch players over the last several years and hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history. The Celtics will still be dangerous when down, but to take the next step, they'll need to do a better job of avoiding the need to come back.
So let's take a look at the Celtics' new look roster, with notable additions including All-Stars Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, the 3rd overall pick Jason Tatum, and Marcus Morris. GA and the coach have more on the Celtics' depth and their bigs this season. Guys?
Yeah, a lot of guys, Coach, are going to be getting to know one another, but one guy we do know a lot about is Al Horford, the impact he had a season ago and what's expected from him in this upcoming year.
Let's face it, he's the Lone Ranger because he's the only starter remaining from last year's team. And we heard how many close games they were involved in last season. This is a process of starting over again for this new group together. How do they gel? Well, Horford is the one guy that they feel stepped up his game in the playoffs last year, really played extremely well. He's the anchor to this team. 3 guys are going to share the shots this year. We know that. Kyrie Irving, Hayward, Al Horford's the other one, and they rely on his defense.
Yeah, he's going to anchor that as well. And one of the forgotten guys, remember, Avery Bradley no longer there as well, but they did get Marcus Morris, who can give them some versatility on that front line. You could see Horford playing a lot of 5, but Morris, I think, is going to be a key cog for this team. He gives them toughness. He can score a little bit as well, rebounding, and again, that versatility, Coach. So you got to expect for him to have a huge impact if this team really wants a chance to win the East.
Well, how about toughness? Let's go to the big guy they picked up in Aaron Baines. He is a big, strong body. I heard people early on say, where they're going to use him, he's not going to play. Don't be surprised if Baines winds up starting when teams have a big center. Charlotte, with the addition of Dwight Howard, this guy will go in there, he'll go nose to nose with you. And in talking to their staff, they are really impressed with his ability to shoot the basketball from 15 to 18 feet. They like this addition. He could be a starter at times during the season.
Yeah, so the depth is probably an advantage. And the one guy we haven't talked about who I think might be the most important player of all for them in terms of the team is Marcus Smart, because he's a guy that gives them the ultimate toughness. And remember, no Avery Bradley, no Jay Crowder. He kind of fits that mode. If he's improved offensively, and with the addition of Hayward and Kyrie, I think their passing as a group gets better. This Celtics team could be really special.
Smart could be the one. You can move Irving over to the 2 and play that way as well.
Yeah, Kristen, things are looking good up in Beantown.
All right, guys, after the break, we'll show you what else Kyrie Irving was up to this offseason, and we'll play a little game of over or under. Don't go away.
Leaning together is about what men can do as dads and partners
to help support the women in our lives.
My wife is my #1 teammate, and we try to go 50-50 in on everything that we do.
Oh, hi.
I'm proud to lean in for my amazing kids, and I'm their #1 fan.
I always let my sister know she can be anything she wanted to be.
Now we're talking.
And I'm proud to do my part to support gender equality.
Now it's your turn. Use the hashtag #LeanInTogether to share your story with us.
James Harden side steps and puts it in. Harden, big finish. The Beard is balling right now.
Down to 4, 3, down to 2. Harden puts it down.
It's important for me to give back to the community because I'm helping change somebody's life.
I always feel like when you focus on more people outside of yourself, life just feels a little bigger.
The best way to give back is by your actions.
Now that I'm a professional athlete and I know the impact that I can have on youth, the things that I can do to help out a community, I feel like it's really important.
Titles for the Heat.
I'm back.
LeBron James. No, he didn't. Big time bucket by the King. Oh, blocked by James.
I
Let's go.
love the WNBA.
This is gorgeous.
They're huge talents.
I learned a little bit from them as well.
It's good. Nick puts it on.
They make the game extremely exciting to watch.
Why do I watch them work?
You have got to be kidding me.
2 words: sick handles, mad skills.
Spectacular.
Candace Parker, Della Don,
Sue Bird, and Diane Rossi.
Maya Moore.
You have a fan in me because you are the best at what you do.
Hi, this is Dennis Smith Jr., and you're watching NBA TV.
Kyrie Irving, so pumped to be back in the finals. Irving, shake and bake, and throws it. Irving to drive, Irving to finish. Irving, picked up by Steph Curry. He stutter steps, he launches a 3. Hey! Nailed it! It's over! The Cavaliers are NBA champions. This is what it's about right here, man. Right here, man. Our names will be etched in history, man. Never thought I'd be here.
So Kyrie helped lead the Cavs to the 2016 NBA championship. Can he lead the Celtics to championship number 18? Well, first he's doing this, bringing Uncle Drew to life alongside our very own Reggie Miller, Shaquille O'Neal, and Chris Webber. The film shot here in Atlanta. Chris's hair looks phenomenal, if I do say so myself.
Makeup. That's some serious makeup work right there.
I love it. My girl Lisa Leslie has never looked more stunning. How about the Celtics schedule, though? They start their season in Cleveland, facing Kyrie's former team on TNT. Then they'll be part of a 5-game slate on Christmas Day. against the Washington Wizards. January 3rd, Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder will return to Boston for the first time. Then on the 11th, they'll head across the pond to take on the 76ers as the NBA's global games continue in London. That game is right here on NBA TV. And last season, the Celtics won 53 games. That was good for the top seed in the Eastern Conference. So will this team win more or less than 56.5 this season?
Ooh, that's a big number, 56.5. Let's go over the Eastern Conference first of all. Your top 4 teams in no specific order, but Boston and Cleveland, Toronto, Washington, to me, are the top 4 teams. Then Miami and Milwaukee come after them. So that means they're going to be pretty good, a lot of wins. How many close games the Celtics won last year? These 2 teams improving, Milwaukee, Miami, all the new pieces coming in, only 1 starter back for Boston. He started with 25 wins 4 seasons back, Brad Stevens, and built it up to 53 wins. They may have to take a step back this year. I don't think they're getting 56.5 wins.
Okay.
Or 57.
Under for Coach then.
You know, it's going to be a challenge for him. I think it's not about the regular season as much. They might be around the same win total, but they're going to be better built for the postseason. I think they're going to have more offensive firepower. And I think over the course of the year, Brad Stevens will figure out the identity of who this team's going to be ultimately. And while maybe they don't get to 57, I do think they're going to be around 55, Coach. I don't know if they get over as well, so I'm going under.
Let's remember, when the Big Three went to Miami together, they started out 9-8 that year. 17 games gone by, they were 9-8, around 500 team, and people going, what's wrong with Miami Heat? It took them time. These are new players coming in. The coach had to figure it out. They had to figure it out. When they won a championship, everybody said there's nothing wrong with the Heat.
And to Coach's point, this team's similar to that one in that it's a completely revamped team.
Right. So how do the Celtics define success then this season? Is it finals or bust?
I think it's got to be finals.
Well, you said before, Kyrie wanted it. He's got it. The pressure's on. They've got to win.
I think if you think of it this way, this is a team that was a 1 seed in the East, whether by de facto or not. 53 wins normally doesn't get that for you. They got to a conference finals. Struggle for them, but they got there. You go out, you get Kyrie Irving in a trade, you get an A-list free agent with Gordon Hayward, and you draft Jason Tatum. To me, it's got to be getting to the finals to define this as a successful season.
The little leprechaun is spinning around in the circle right now with the ball in the air, jumping up and down, waiting for the finals to come. We'll see if they get there.
Cleveland is the competition in the East. Where do they now stack up against the Cavaliers?
I still think Cleveland's the best team because Cleveland's revamped roster is better than they were a year ago as well. So I think it makes it even more exciting for this upcoming season.
Sure,
2 loaded teams. I can't wait.
Washington might have something
they got something to say about it.
For the coach and GA, I'm Kristen Ledlow. Thanks for watching our Boston Celtics team preview. We'll see you next time.
The preseason is the time for youngsters to show their stuff, and that's what's going to happen tonight here at the Garden. Jason Tatum's going to get himself a start. Markelle Fultz, the #1 draft pick, he's going to play tonight. Youngsters galore as the Celtics take on the Sixers next. Man, welcome inside the TD Garden, everyone. The Celtics play their second and final preseason game at home. They'll do it against the Sixers. Tip-off brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites. Hello again, everybody. I'm Mike Coleman along with Tom Heinsohn. We all know about Kyrie Irving and how important he's going to be in the Boston backcourt. He's going to get a rest tonight. We're going to get a chance to see some of the younger guys.
Jaylen Brown at the 2 position. Played a little bit last year. They're hoping he'll be able to get the job done. Marcus Smart doing what he does best. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Come up with loose balls. Something unusual. Very, very good. And you're going to see some really great play from this guy, Terry Rozier. Each one of the preseason games, he has played the most consistent of anybody, in my opinion. He's going to get the job done.
All right, the Sixers have their #1 pick, Markelle Fultz. He didn't play the other night. We were down in Philly. He's not going to start tonight, but he is going to see some action.
Well, he's a point guard that can score, and he also obviously can pass the ball. He's got an eye and a feel for playing the point guard spot, but he is a bona fide scorer. I'll see what he does.
All right, Jason Tatum's going to get a start tonight. Again, youngsters really getting a chance to show what they can do. And so far, Jason Tatum has not disappointed anyone. The number 3 pick by the Celtics in the draft. He just looks very, very comfortable. Seems more and more calm with his game as each and every practice and day goes by. He'll be a good one for the Celtics now and in the future. Jason Tatum and company are next.
Celtics basketball on NBC Sports Boston is brought to you in part by Nissan. Take on the unexpected with Nissan's available intelligent safety shield technologies. Innovation that excites. By AAA. Join or renew today at AAA.com. By Plainridge Park, your hometown casino. By Bernie and Phil's. Choose no tax or free delivery going on now at Bernie and Phil's. By Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. And by Toyota.com. Toyota's official website for deals. Buy at Toyota.com.
Believe me, just watch. Don't 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 believe me, just watch. Hey, 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 oh! Stop. Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Julio, get the stretch. Right to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. If we show up, we gon' show out. Smoother than a fresh drop skipping. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Make a dragon wanna retire, man. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Trick say my name, you know who I am. I'm too hot. Hot damn. And my band bought that money. Break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and
Welcome to the TD Garden and tonight's preseason game between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. At this time, we're asked to all please rise as we honor those who have served and continue to serve our country with the presentation of our nation's colors. Tonight, the colors are being presented by the Revere High School's Junior ROTC program. And now, for the singing of our national anthem, please welcome from Methuen, Massachusetts, Nikki DiGiulio.
Welcome back to the Garden. Coach, going into the third preseason game, you're already resting guys. So what went into that thought today?
You know, I think the biggest thing was we wanted a chance for those guys to focus on themselves and ourselves, and we did so this morning in a group workout with them and had a really good practice yesterday. And then the other reality is everybody needs the preseason, and so we wanted our second unit and third unit and other young guys to get a chance to play. And so obviously the preseason is truncated and it's going to be a shorter time frame this year, but we feel good about what we've been able to do in 2 weeks. We're not a finished product yet, but we feel good about where we are 2 weeks later.
Do you get jacked up, the idea that these young guys get an opportunity to play big minutes tonight and see what they're really made of?
Yeah, I think that's part of the fun of it, right? And I think they do too. And I think it's there's a lot of good, young, talented players on the floor on both teams. And it makes for a great opportunity for those guys. Even if you're a guy that have played, but you're playing in a different role, you're starting now instead of coming off the bench, or you're a second unit player instead of a third unit. It's just a different feel as you go into a game.
All right, it should be exciting. Got the young guys ready to pounce on some opportunities. And don't forget about that man, T. Rose, throwing it down. Celtics, Sixers coming up next.
Michigan, number 11, Nick Stauskas. At the other guard, 6'3", from Arizona, number 0, Jared Bayless. At center, 6'11", from Duke, number 8, Jaleel Okafor.
At one forward, 6'10", from Croatia, number 9, Dario Saric. And at the other forward, 6'10", from LSU, number 25, Ben Simmons. The head coach of the 76ers is Brett Brown.
And now, introducing the Boston Celtics. At center, 6'10", from Washington State, number 46,
Season basketball on NBC Sports Boston. Presented by Nissan.
Hey, with a little hesitation move, nice dish, and Baines gets two.
It's been fun. We're getting into the rhythm of things, and the more we play with each other, the more comfortable we feel. And
Marcus Smart!
You know, when guys see Marcus out there diving on the floor and putting his body on the line, everyone wants to do it. And
good hustle by Yabusele, sure was.
We're not playing for the stats, we're just playing for the win, and that's what's most important to all of us, and everyone just wants to contribute how they can.
And welcome back inside the TD Garden, everyone. The Celtics, as you can see, are ready. So are we. Starting lineups are brought to you by Jordan's Furniture, not just the store. And experience. Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart will start in the backcourt. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Aron Baines along the front line for the Celtics. On the other side for the 76ers tonight, Jared Bayless, who played well the other night. Nick Stauskas on the backcourt. Ben Simmons, Dario Saric, and Jaleel Okafor along the front line. Sideline reports are brought to you by Arbella. Here for Celtic fans. Here for good. Here's Abby.
Thank you, Mike. Rookie Jason Tatum making his second start in as many games. I got a chance to talk to him in the locker room, and he said he feels night and day more comfortable than he did making his debut a week ago. As for the possibility of facing off against Markelle Fultz for the first time, Jason knows that the comparisons between the two will always be there, especially after the Celtics traded out of that #1 pick. But he says while it is a motivation, he realizes he's in a very different situation with the caliber of team he is on. Mike?
All right, Ab, thanks very much. Key matchup tonight is brought to you by Subaru of New England, proudly supplying vehicles for New England's fall activities. And it is Fultz and Tatum, the #1 and #3 picks in the most recent draft. There are their numbers right there. Honeydew List is brought to you by Honeydew, their new salted caramel pastry stick and salted caramel coffee today. Let's get you written all over it, too.
Well, we want to see the big man chemistry develop further. There's several different questions on matchups and combinations. Tonight we're seeing a different combination with Brown going to play the quick forward spot and Tatum the power forward. So big man rotations changing in this game.
Sixers with the tip. Simmons will handle the ball a lot. Another of the #1 picks on this club. Simmons will fall away by Stauskas, who hasn't shot it all that well in the preseason. Jaylen Brown the other way.